This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
1970s sitcom star and actor Ernest Lee Thomas on this edition of Conversations. Say what you will about the 1970s, but for those of us who are of a certain age, one thing is memorable: sitcoms on television. One of those sitcoms that still makes you chuckle as you think back is What's Happening. Ernest Lee Thomas played the role of Raj, alongside his buddies Rerun and Dwayne. Add in little sister Dee and waitress Shirley, and well, there you have it, a half hour of lighthearted, silly, fun television. Thomas began his career on Broadway before heading to Hollywood. In recent years, he's appeared on television shows like Everybody Hates Chris, In the Heat of the Night, and he's also logged in a handful of films. We welcome Ernest Lee Thomas to Conversations. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Jeff, man. That was great.
Well,
man.
thank you. Appreciate that. Tell me how you got in the acting business.
Well, I was a late bloomer. My friend Jake Smith, and he's in Gary, Indiana now. He's married with children, but he never wanted anything from me, but because I wanted him to become my manager. But in college, I would just do silly things to make him laugh, and he was my fraternity brother's older brother. But we became even closer because I think he knew I needed a father figure, right. And so he became that. And so I would imitate people on television, or I put a pillow in my shirt and be pregnant, and just any and everything to make him laugh. And so he said, "You're an actor." He said, "Ernie, man, you can do whatever they do. Those actors on TV or movies, man." I said, No, I'm going to be a social worker. He said, "Ernie, I'm telling you can." So he said, "At least just take a class." And so I took a class. I got an A in that class. And the teacher, I remember, he was a red hair, had this bright red hair. And after that, he met with me afterwards. He says, "You could do this for a living." I said, no, I couldn't. I'm going to be a social worker. I said, my friend thinks that, but no, that's so far removed. And plus, I'm Church of God in Christ, Pentecostal, and that's a sin. It's secular, it's all that in a way. So Jake kept on me, though. He kept on me. And then he said, well, there was an audition for Romeo and Juliet. And I had seen the play, the movie, Zeffirelli's, which that was great, my favorite one. And so I auditioned and just imitated the prince in there, Prince Escalus, and all these actor students, all these kids who had majored in acting. But I just went in. I was nervous, but I just jumped on stage and did it, and they were telling me that the director was racist, that he would not, he wouldn't want me in there, and so after I did it, he says, "Okay, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'd like to see that one more time." So, the guy they called the racist was like loving what I did, and he hired me, and we did it. We traveled all over Indiana to the various high schools. I was signing autographs, and
the bug had bitten you.
Yeah, but still, it's like I said, no, I can't. This can't be though a job. It can't be a life thing, because I got to be a social worker, because I love my social workers, and it's closer to what as a Pentecostal, being saved and sanctified. They're not going to prove that, and so Jake stayed on me again, and then there was an audition for the American Academy, which is, the oldest English-speaking school in the world. And that's what Robert Redford, you name it, Danny DeVito, Spencer he's just a who's who. Mm-hmm. And he wanted me to audition for that. And they had a local, it was at Indiana State University, which is in Terre Haute, Indiana. and but they were going to have regional auditions in Chicago, and Jake drove me in the little Volkswagen. He believed in this so much that he wanted me to audition. But I'm looking at the list of people, you know, so I'm with him. But once we get there, I'm really freaking out. I said, Jake, did you look at the list of people? They're not gonna take me, man. They got Spencer Tracy, Robert Redford. So it was just who's, and so Jake told me that he would kick my rear. It wasn't that word. He used another word.
I got you.
And I never seen him like that. I mean, he had a look like and they did fear him. Like, he was a guy he didn't bother anybody, but no one messed with Jake, because he didn't have time for foolishness, you know. So that's why people were even shocked that he took time to mentor me, because he was just like a loner.
Why do you think he did that? What did he see in you?
I think God put it on him because of my faith. I just believe that God, he showed him what I couldn't see. Because I did not see that, Jeff. I never, ever wanted to be an actor, man. Never, ever. And because his wife hated my guts, by the way. She was, oh, God, funny. He don't do nothing for me, you know. So I'm dealing with that part, too. And so Jake gives me that look, man. And Jake looks Chinese, because he's black and Indian, but people thought he was Chinese, half Asian. And he was like that, like he could karate chop me or something, you know. It was really, scary. And I had never seen him look like that. He said, Ernie, get in there or we're gonna have a problem. Yeah. So I go, and he says, on top of that, he went and got some Schlitz malt liquor. He says, and when you come, we're gonna celebrate. I'm going to get this malt liquor. He brought it. Now I got it right here. Once you come down and get accepted, we're gonna drink. We're gonna toast. So I go in because Jake is believing that. So I'm gonna go in, and I do have faith in God. So I said, Lord, lead me as I go up in here. Lord, I'm gonna do it. And Charles Raison was the executive director of the American Academy. So it wasn't just like a local. This is a big wig that's actually doing it. And so I did a scene. I did that same audition that I did for Romeo and Juliet, and then I took from the acting class. I had done a scene. Oh God, what was the other one? Oh God, I can't think of that. But it was bits and pieces of different ones, and so I just kind of. It didn't make sense, but I just tried to make it. I knew the Romeo and Juliet, that was definite. Then I just took pieces of dialogue and tied them together as a monologue from different established plays that I had done in the classroom that the teacher liked. And so I got up there and jumped on a chair because the prince comes in on a horse, right? So I jumped, and the guys look at me, and I'm doing the whole thing, and then I do the more quieter, dialogue and monologue that I had prepared. Death of a Salesman. That was over. Death of a Salesman, and Hamlet. And so he says, "Welcome to the American Academy."
Wow.
That simple. All that sweat, all that work, no whatever, just yeah.
Off you go.
Yeah.
Now, and when did you get to Broadway?
Broadway, after going to American Academy, it was right after that.
Okay.
I was really blessed, man. I mean, right after that, of course, the church is saying we're going to hell, but
right.
That part. But I just figured God put this on me, and I didn't know what to do. I said, I know this has to be God. There ain't nothing bad about it.
Right.
I'm making people happy. And so 1974, Hal Prince, who did Phantom of the Opera, Evita, I was blessed to get 2 roles at the same time that would be, I would be starring them at different times. So I got Hal Prince, Member of the Wedding, and then Tony Perkins from Psycho. He was directing for the first time. It was a new play, and it was a gang member, And they said, well, I had such a baby face, they just didn't see it. And I said, just give me a chance. And then I worked on it, and I believe God gave me this monologue at 5 o'clock in the morning. I had one of those old tape recorders, and it just came. The word just came, and I became that. It was kind of like an out-of-body experience. So I went back with that piece, and I lied and said it was from a play, the new playwright, which wasn't true. And I got hired. So I got 2, and then Arlene Francis, you might be a little young, but Arlene Francis, to tell the truth, I know some of the crew members, they know who she is, but we're in the same age group. Right, don't try it. So she was a star, and we did it at Falmouth Playhouse called Don't Call Back, and I'm angry, I'm choking this lady, a white lady on top of that. This is at 74, and the audience is like booing me and all that. So I'm thinking that they don't like the performance. That means that's a good thing,
right?
You know? And I get a standing ovation with every performance. And then they nicknamed me the Bravo Kid. One of the actors nicknamed me the Bravo Kid, and so all these women with the fur coats and the diamonds were taking me out to say you're gonna be this big star, and the newspapers were saying the way I walked on stage like a Black Panther, and they were describing. I got to get those. I got to get a copy of those reviews.
Yeah.
It was just incredible, Jeff. And then to go to Hal, member of the wedding. We toured with that for a year. And Glenn Close was in there.
Yeah,
Glenn Close was in there with me. And Glenn had a smaller role. And again, Kathleen Carroll, Daily News, giving me, but it cost a lot of haters came from that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Even one of my best friend became the hater.
Jealous.
And I didn't see that coming. Yeah. Not from him. He actually came to see me in a play, in one of the plays, and he said, and he came with his wife in the green room, and I'm thinking he's gonna, I got the review, Kathleen Carroll. Yeah, I just don't see this for you, man. And it really threw me, Then I realized that I had fallen in love with acting, because normally I'm the person who is kumbaya. My mother said I'm too nice, but it changed because I had fallen in love with this acting. I looked at him and I said, take it back. And he said, what? I said, no. This I want you, either take it back. I don't want any discussion. You take it back what you just said, or you and your wife can leave and lose my number. And he's shocked because they never saw this Ernest before. And so he says he's sorry, And I talk to a lot. I talk to a lot of kids at universities, and I tell them that I still excommunicated him. And I said, the reason being, when someone says they're sorry, you still got to ask God for discernment. Is that sorry sincere? Or are they just trying to come back so they can do more damage, you see? Yeah. So I didn't believe that. I knew that wasn't sincere. Yeah. So I told him I received it, but from then on, I was too busy. Right. And I said, that's what, you just tell people, I'm just busy. God has me on a mission, and when he's done with me, I'll get back with you.
Interesting. Tell me about your Hollywood. You leave Broadway, head to L.A. and start some television shows. The Jeffersons initially?
Yeah. The Jeffersons, and I love that show, man. That was my first sitcom. I had to take the bus, or the first time I took the bus, but Isabel Sanford, who played Wheezy, she says, no, I'm picking you up every day for that week. And she did every day for that week. She picked me up. And the first day, it kind of threw me because everybody was friendly, but Sherman Hemsley, he wouldn't shake my hand. And they went, oh, Sherman, just ignore him, because they said, Sherman, this is Ernest Thomas, And He said, "Oh, so what?" And I'm like, "Oh."
So he
okay.
really was George Jefferson.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. And then all week I'm trying to impress him, like get a compliment and nothing. But the day of, the audience loved me. The audience laughed at everything that they should have, and that's when he was impressed. So the guy says, and I guest star, Ernest Thompson, and Sherman ran out. No, his name is Ernest Thomas, and he's gonna be a big star. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell just happened? And so he told me, he says, I'm telling you, you're gonna have your own show. He said, but you gotta be careful because of your niceness. A lot of people are gonna enter into your life, and leeches. He said energy vampires, and I didn't listen to him because I allowed all the people in. Everyone could come to my place, and they were exactly that.
Took advantage of
you.
Yeah. What was it like on that show, What's Happening? Because, I mean, I told several people I was going to interview you, and, we all remember that from that era. I mean, it was the 1970s, and, you didn't have, a plethora of cable channels or internet or Netflix or any of that sort of stuff. So, I mean, the ratings were huge on a number. What was it like in that time?
Brother Jeff, the best way to describe it is heaven on earth. Because, I'm a kid from Gary, Indiana, Dory Miller Projects, I've seen my mother getting beaten by the boyfriends and the stepfathers and all that, bullied at school by my own people. So I'm dealing with, an all-black grade school where they, because I am thin and I am, on welfare and I don't have the father, I never met my father. So they're calling me nappy-headed, monkey, ugly, right? And because I was smart on top of that, the teacher's pet, the teachers loved me. That didn't endear me to them at all, though. And then when I go to the South during the summer, I got to deal with the whites and going to the back of the restaurant and saying yes, sir, to little white boys, little white girls, because my mother showed me a photo of Emmett Till and said, this will happen to you. So even when you go to the South, even if it's a white child, say yes, sir, and no, ma'am, and yes, ma'am. So that you're dealing with that. And just by the fact that I was in Pentecostal church, that Jesus was my everything, there's no way I would have made it without having that faith in something bigger, the creator of all that. God got me. I'm his child, So I'm dealing with all that. So to get what's happening, where now everyone in the nation knows you, you're the top 10 show, and then people you admired like Muhammad Ali and Oprah Winfrey and Sidney Poitier. He asked me to be in Piece of the Action, to be in his movie with him. Burt Reynolds, Lucille Ball, because she cried. I told her how much she meant to me, and John Wayne, and James Stewart I met, Ginger Rogers, Danny Thomas, Bob Hope, and I'm sure I probably got on their nerves because I was such a fan. I was such a fan, but and it wasn't quite. The only thing I tell the young kids is it was heaven on earth, but also it was that undercurrent of hell, because it's like, how can life be this good? Something tragic has to happen. So I had made up in my mind, right, that, I'm gonna die, because I asked God for this show. I got it beyond my imagination in the top 10, and all these people that love you. Dr. Maya Angelou befriended me and took me to 2020 Fox, tried to get my movie done. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna die, right? So that's I tell them, enjoy the journey. So when they had Ernest Thomas Day in Gary, Indiana, and they had all the Jesse Jackson and Coretta Scott King and the people weren't interested in that. They had this big parade. They literally when they brought me after the parade and brought me to the podium where the Mayor Hatcher was going to introduce me, they bum rushed the stage. And, you have men say, touch my child, touch my wife, it was like that. And so they rushed me in the limousine because it was that. And they didn't listen to Mayor Hatcher at all. It was over. So I said, oh, yeah, even any minute now, someone's going to come out with a gun, I'm thinking, right? And shoot me right now. So all that was going on in my head. And someone had made a bust of my head, a guy, when I was on the top of the podium, and that scared me. I went, oh yeah, I'm dead. I'm definitely dead. Oh, this is it. I said, oh Lord, just let me go easy. As soon as it hit, let me just die. don't let me suffer. So, but it was heaven on earth, and that was the best part. But then that was that other part, and I'm enjoying the journey now more, much more now.
You can look back. Well, I mean, I would imagine it would be hard for a lot of people to really realize and take in. I mean, here you are talking about growing up in the projects and going through all this, and now you're in Hollywood, California, and the whole nation knows your name.
Yeah.
And again, I can't stress enough what it was like in the 70s like that, because if you were on a major network television show, that was huge. It wasn't spliced and diced like it is today.
You don't have NBC, ABC, CBS, right?
Yeah. And PBS.
And it was a good PBS. And it was a good time. It was a great time for the 70s. The music was great. It seemed like people were healing, race relations were people were just trying to understand each other. Because what's happening, is a black show. But it had to go in front of a testing audience of whites. Mm-hmm. So they had to love that show. They knew that show would reach everyone. And it has, over the past 45 years, this is our 45th year, it has, I know people who said they were outright racist, and they're, their family are gone, they're channel surfing, and they see the show and they decide to just out of curiosity, and they're laughing, but they went, wait a minute, oh, I'm not supposed to, mm-hmm. And it slowly chips away at that, And so I think it did a lot for race relations, mm-hmm. and I think everyone can identify with having a friend, the camaraderie as teenagers.
Right.
And then fast forward to where Chris Rock, who grew up on the show, he created that role of Mr. Omar for me because he grew up on the show, and I wanted to bring a copy of that book, man. And I had a senior moment. I said, I want this for Jeff. Left it in the hotel room because Chris Rock says when he saw me, he gives me a quote for the book. He knew anything was possible.
Tell me a little bit about the book, because you have written a book, From Raj to Riches.
Yes.
And I've got about 5 minutes.
Okay.
But tell me
I told
a little bit.
Motor mouth.
That's okay.
I told you, Jeff.
That's what this show's all about. Conversations.
All right, 5 minutes. Okay.
Well, probably 4.
It's really a testimony of faith, that faith in Christ, John 14:14, ask anything in my name. It's real. God doesn't lie. You just have to believe it, and no matter what, don't say anything negative against it. So what you have to do is work each day like it's your last day on earth, giving God the glory, and you never speak the negative. So no matter, I was rejected by 9 agents. The first pilot, what's happening, did not make it. All the haters, all that, I would go to my little hotel room, cry myself to sleep. I mean, I would cry rivers of tears. I said, don't let the smile fool you. I cried rivers of tears. But in the end, God, because I never said, Lord, I believe you, mm-hmm. but I'm going crazy here, because how much can my heart take of the rejection? But if you hang in there, so that's what the book is telling people. Look, put your faith in Christ, John 14:14, ask anything in my name, it will work. You will fail God. He will never fail you.
What advice do you have for young people right now who want to make it in acting,
or anything,
sports, business, anything? What advice would you give them?
Again, I think, so for me, it's you got to have that faith. You got to have that, and you got to never say anything negative. Once you decide, now get the skills, Go whatever school, whatever thing you got to do, and go do more than your competition or the others. But you got to. Yeah, I would read a script, my part 50, 100 times. Just find new things that might undercurrents and that I don't know, and come up with something crazy, because I think you want to bring it more than what the author has there. You want to make it where he can't even believe that he wrote that. That you make it so exciting, So I think work like your life depends on it, faith, but work like your life depends on it. And remember, your feelings are traitors to your soul. You won't feel like it. You're going to be tired. All that negative stuff, you got to ignore that and get your butt out of that bed, get in that shower every day, relentless, every day. And God, you got me, Lord. I don't feel like it. I got doubt, Lord. Still, I'm going to keep going. I believe in you, Lord, and it will happen.
Deal. In about 1 minute, what are you up to these days?
I have a film that it's called Playhouse. It's on the Win Network. I have a movie, The Gods, on Amazon. I have Two Wolves on Tubi. And then I'm doing another film right now, and I can't think of the title of it, but I'm doing another film, I'm learning lines for that right now. And I like to make this from Rags to Riches gospel play, a gospel musical. So pray, help me with that, so I can come back and talk about
Love to have you back.
Do a cameo. You do a cameo.
There you go. There you go. Hey, it's a pleasure, my friend.
My pleasure.
That's absolutely. Ernest Lee Thomas, you know him from 70s sitcom television. He's also got a book. It's called From Raj to Riches. And, of course, he played Raj on the 70s sitcom What's Happening. Of course, other television shows and movies and all that. And nice enough to spend some time with us today. Thanks a lot and all the best to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jeff.
By the way, you can see this show and many more of our conversations online at WSRE.org/conversations, as well as on YouTube. I'm Jeff Weeks. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Thank you so very much for watching. Take wonderful care of yourself, and we'll see you soon.